It's a long name, and there's a lot of words in it, but it's a good shoe. So stick with me, guys. I've got the Skechers GoRun Max Road 4 Hyper. I got it. It's my first try, I promise. Alright guys, so I have the Skechers GoRun Max Road 4 Hyper. I have been running in the Skechers Max shoe lineup for quite some time, probably 5 or 6 years. I've always liked the amount of cushioning that they provide in the midsole, and then they also have a rocker that's similar to the Hoka that works really well for my running stride, and I think it makes me more of an efficient runner. I have quite the variations of the Max Road 4, and this one I think was the biggest difference, and I'm going to tell you why. So in the Max Road 4 Hyper, the biggest thing that I've noticed is this midsole. So it is made of the Hyper midsole. So this is their new, designed, fantastic, wonderful, tons of marketing foam. And it's very comfortable and it's responsive, but yet it's cushiony. The next biggest difference that I see is the upper. So Skechers is calling this upper as a knit mesh fabric, and that's exactly what it is. It's very stretchy, as you can see when I put it on my foot, and it feels like a sock. It really does. A very kind of heavy knit sock, almost like a wool sock, if you will. So what I noticed with this sock-like upper is that it's very warm and that it does not really let the heat out. So it's wintertime right now and it didn't seem to really be a problem. But when I took this shoe inside and I ran a couple times on the treadmill with it, I noticed that my feet were getting hot. Now I ran with a sock, with this kind of sock knit upper, because I don't want blisters and I wanted my feet to be comfortable. And maybe that would work better if I didn't wear a sock, but I noticed that the heat really stuck in with this upper. The next thing that I noticed with this upper was one thing that really kind of bugged me as I was running. If you guys can see right here on this upper, there are just these eyelets that secure your foot down. That is it, because it's a sock-like upper, eyelets with shoelaces. There is no pulling, stretching, tugging, tongue that you can use to kind of get that really good lockdown if you're that runner that wants that good lockdown into their foot, which I assume most runners do. And it seemed to bother me in the fact that this upper, it came all the way up into like the front of my foot and kind of rubbing that tendon that lays right in the middle in front of your foot up into your lower leg. And it kind of bothered it when I was like walking around or doing stuff at the gym. It really seemed to bother it, and I did not like that part. So if I could change one thing on the shoe, it would definitely be this sock-like upper that comes all the way up. And I get it, it's supposed to be the tongue, but it was just irritating, uncomfortable, and I wanted to like rip it out. I noticed when I was running that it didn't seem to bother me as much. I think because you are flexing more here and it had more give, where as I was walking, it was pushing against it. So there was kind of a pro and con to it. It is a very nice upper. It is comfortable. However, I'm a more traditional runner that likes a traditional upper, that would like something with an actual tongue, actual eyelets, just some more customization that I can have when it's more of a traditional upper. I know this is kind of the rave to have that sock upper. It's all one piece, and I think it is nice. It's just something that I don't prefer. And if this midsole rest of the shoe came with a traditional upper, it would be a rock star shoe. It does have a pull tab in the back, which you guys know from Jameson Michael on his reviews. It is a big deal, especially with triathletes. It just allows us to really get that shoe on quickly and also to kind of get your foot into the shoe. The laces on this shoe were great. They seem to always stay tied. I always double knot my shoes, but there was no problems with the laces that I had whatsoever. Just these eyelets that I talked about previously that I wish they were more of a traditional, but there was no problems with them coming undone while I was running. So the midsole. So this is like the meat and potatoes of the shoe. And I am a Skechers fan. I think a lot of people overlook Skechers because they're like, oh, they're not a running company. Oh, they're just trying to get into it. They've been in it for quite some time. Like I've said, I've been running in their shoes for 5 or 6 years. And the Hyper Burst that they use in their midsoles, I have the Razor and this shoe, I absolutely love. I love the Hyper from literally running errands, walks around the neighborhood, running, training, gym. I find it very, very versatile. It's very comfortable. I'm a traditional Hoka fan, and I love the Meta Rocker. I love the cushioning that Hoka has, but Skechers Hyperburst is really, really ranked up there with my Hokas. Like, I am back and forth with like the Hoka Clifton 6 and then the Hyper that Skechers offer. The Hyperburst midsoles are extremely comfortable. They're forgiving and they give you kind of that cloud-like, but without being too mushy or too sloppy. But they're also responsive to feel like you're getting some energy return, and I'm not sunken down into the midsole and my Achilles and my foot and my calves are having to work so hard just to get that push off. So I really enjoy the Hyperburst that Skechers has offered. And I know from all the Running Warehouse videos that the Hyperburst material for the midsole is going to be in even more shoes of Skechers lineup with the spring and fall of 2020. So you guys can see that there is somewhat of like a rocker design that Skechers delivers in their midsole. And what that does is I'm a midfoot I'm a midfoot striker. So as you land midfoot, this just kind of helps to roll you forward and then push off. You guys can see on the bottom that there's all these different pillars. It's a very flexible shoe. I think the midsole and just the ground contact that they've added to this shoe makes it very, very comfortable and flexible. I felt like I was able to get a really good push off in the forefoot with this shoe. The Skechers GoRun Max 4 Hyper comes in at $130, which is, I would say, right about the average shoe. Nothing seems to be coming in anything more below $130, and if they do, it's like, well, we forgot, you're gonna have to buy the laces because we had to take those out. So it's very hard to find a shoe that comes below $130, and I think it's a fair offer. The Skechers Max Road 4 comes in at 29 in a stack height in the heel and a 25 stack height in the forefoot. They're saying that's a 6mm offset. I'm not fantastic at math, but 29 minus 25 would be 4. But we'll go with it. It's 6mm. Okay. 6. I would give it a gap of 4 to 6mm offset. It comes in at 8.4 ounces in a men's size 9. It does feel fairly light on your foot. I didn't have any problems with it feeling literally like a brick or, just feeling heavy under my foot, which I've had with some, trail running shoes or some Hokas recently. Shoes were getting heavier and we were kind of like the shoe was eating too much, and it was like, you need to back up. You need to back up and slow down. The shoe's getting too heavy. But this shoe, it didn't have that feel at all. It was very lightweight on my foot. So overall, my impression with the Skechers GoRun Max Road 4 would be that it's a great shoe, honestly. I love the Hyperburst that Skechers is bringing out, and I want more and more shoes. Like I said, more of a traditional upper would be right up my alley, but I love what Skechers is doing. This is a comfortable shoe, guys. So to find a shoe that's comfortable, that's very versatile, is hard to do. It really is. And this is something that will be now added into my running lineup, and it would be added even more if they would make this traditional. Please, Skechers, make it a traditional upper. But it is a very comfortable shoe. It is definitely a shoe that I think that you should add to your lineup. If not this one, go check out like the Skechers Hyper Razor. It's very comfortable as well. It's got more of a traditional upper. It just doesn't have so much of a stack height. You can pick this shoe up at Running Warehouse. They offer great discounts. I got 10% off this shoe, so it was less than $130. And they always have free shipping, so to you and to return it. So you always feel able to try the shoe with nothing tying you down. So this upper that Skechers offers is, I don't even know what it's called. Let's look it up. I bet it's got 8 different names in it too. But it's like the Skechers GoRun Hyper knitted upper tight woven something.